Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. I'm going to see if Garrett Nussmeier gives me a little bit of redemption because I have not heard three of these cuts. These were given to the video interviewees, and I was with the print team interviewing Josh Williams at this time, so I haven't heard these. But I know what they're about, and I'm going to guess that Garrett Nussmeier does nothing but heap praise on A&M and dismiss any outside chatter. So let's start with the atmosphere at Kyle Field. I'm going to guess that he's pretty reverent.
I mean, obviously we acknowledge, it's a tough environment. It's a tough place to play. It's going to be loud. It's going to be exciting, But, like I said before the Ole Miss game, it's real easy to get caught up in the extracurriculars of what this game means, all the different things that play into it. And, we can think about those all week and then lose the football game and then it won't matter. So, like I've said many, many times, for us, we're playing a football game this Saturday. And we're focused on us. We're focused on executing the best of our ability and attacking our opponent.
I mean, that's exactly what I would think he would say. It's going to be loud, but we got to focus on us. It's just a football game. Execute. Like all these boring cliches that I talked about in that first segment. I want to hear what he had to say about the playoff. I'm going to guess he didn't get too far ahead of Texas A&M.
I try to get lost in it. We play A&M this week, Saturday night at College Station. So that's all I'm focused on right now. Watching these guys on tape, watching us, figuring out the game plan, where to attack, things like that. And that's all our focus is. Everything else that could happen, like I said, we try not to worry about the extracurriculars. Whatever happens, happens. I know for us, we're focused on going to play a football game.
We're focused on going to play a football game, no extracurriculars, like just a complete opposite tone of that last message. So I was rooted in truth with what I was talking about there. Let's also hear Garrett Nussmeier talking about Nic Scourton, who is the great defensive end at Texas A&M. I wrote a piece up on LouisianaSports.net about 3 key matchups in this game, and Scourton is one of those. This is what Nussmeier had to say about him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good football player. We got some really good tackles, though. And so, I got very strong belief in my guys. We respect him. We understand he's a good football player. But at the end of the day, like I said before, we're focused on, our job, focusing on our assignment each play and executing the right way.
He turned Kyle Field, playoff chatter, and Nic Scourton into we got to focus on what we're doing on a football game. All 3 of them.
It almost makes me think that somebody should do a sketch or a skit about interviewing football players and just ask them the most outlandish stuff, and they just answer every question the same way with the same answer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Dan Levitard had a show where he would
the useless sound.
He would take
they still
all
do
the
that.
coaches'
Yeah,
bites.
it's awesome.
That's all cliches.
Yep.
Neil McCready. He actually does this. I thought about this back before that we had launched the site about writing something like this. Neil McCready's got a segment after every press conference that's what he said and what he meant, and he'll actually put the quote and then he'll say this is what he meant to say, which is good content as well because this is the kind of stuff that you get. I mean, God bless them. LSU's last 2 quarterbacks have been really fun to watch on the field and really good. You're just not going to get a lot of exciting sound from them. But I do want to talk about Scourton to this point. He is awesome. On Mel Kiper's latest big board, he is a top 10 player in this draft, number 9. He is 6'4", which is not super long, but he's 285 pounds, and he's really strong on that frame, and he can move. If you watch some of that, he led the Big Ten in sacks last year for Purdue, and this year he is 6th in the country in tackles for loss. He's got 11 tackles for loss. He's got 4 sacks. He had 2 sacks in the Arkansas game. One of them was a strip sack late in the game of Trey'Dez Green that iced the game, and he's going to be a big deal in this game. Now, as Garrett Nussmeier talked about in that clip, we got 2 pretty good tackles as well, is what he said. And so Emory Jones and Will Campbell will both get their opportunities against Scourton. I went and looked at the highlights from this year, and Scourton does line up on both ends. They move him around, similar to what LSU does with Braden Swinson. They'll move him to different sides. So it will be Campbell and it will be Jones at any given time. And he's really difficult to deal with. He took the Arkansas game over. A&M kind of got fortunate there. The number 1 sack guy in the Big Ten at Purdue is from Bryan, Texas, which if you're familiar, Bryan and College Station are sister cities there. So he grew up in the shadows of A&M's campus, decided he wanted to come home, and he's been a force. And one of the keys in this game, for sure, is going to be A&M's ability to get home to Garrett Nussmeier. No one's been able to do it. And A&M's front's very good. I don't know where it is in relation to South Carolina and Ole Miss. We know that South Carolina gave LSU some trouble early in the game. They got the only 2 sacks this year. Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard were tough to deal with, but LSU held up okay and allowed Nussmeier to throw for over 300 yards in that game. And they also ran the ball okay. And Ole Miss was unable to get to Nussmeier for a sack on 56 dropbacks. So that's a huge matchup in this game. If Mike Elko has it his way, like any defensive coordinator, obviously, he will get home with 4, and Scourton is chief among those. Obviously, Shamar Turner and Shamar Stewart are good players as well. But Scourton's the dude, and LSU's going to have to be aware of where he is, so is Garrett Nussmeier. And if LSU can silence those guys, I really and truly believe that, unlike my feeling last week about Arkansas, I think this week Elko's going to send the cavalry. He's going to pressure. He's going to try to get to Garrett Nussmeier before Nussmeier can take advantage of an iffy Texas A&M secondary. And I think Kyron Lacey and C.J. Daniels and Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas and Mason Taylor and Trey'Dez Green are trouble for A&M's secondary much of the night. This is my contention now after watching the SEC for 2 months. If you haven't played LSU, Georgia, or Ole Miss, you haven't played a really good passing offense. A&M has been hit or miss passing the football. Oklahoma cannot throw the football. Mississippi State early in the year couldn't throw the ball very well at all. Auburn is a mess across the board. Florida with Lagway, it's a little bit clunky in the passing game. South Carolina is a mess throwing the ball with Lenore Sellers. Kentucky, a complete mess throwing the ball. Vanderbilt doesn't want to throw the ball. Missouri, been a mess pretty much across the board. Like, if you have played Arkansas, Taylor Green, good against Oklahoma State, not so good in a lot of other games. LSU has very clearly been a step up in passing game competition for Ole Miss and Arkansas. Those two teams had not been hit hard against the pass, and LSU had a lot of success. Against Ole Miss, Nussmeier threw for 340 and the 3 scores. Against Arkansas, it wasn't the 3 scores. There were no scores, and it wasn't the 340. It was 260, but it was efficient. It was on schedule. It was converting third downs. There were no interceptions or turnovers. There were no sacks. It was just very, very crisp. And so I think A&M's got a good defense. I do. I don't know that I'm going to feel like you're going to put LSU in a bottle because you stopped Taylor Green and Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway and Brady Cook and who's their other SEC game that they've played thus far? I'll get there. Mississippi State. And they didn't really stop Mississippi State that much with a true freshman quarterback. So this is a step up for them, and I think they're gonna struggle to cover. And the way that you compensate for that is you go get them. And at home, in that environment where the tackles may not hear as well, and you've got one of the best pass rushers in the conference, I think they're going to send a lot of pressure. Scourton is, I think, chief among those guys, and LSU's got to be aware of where he is. Trey'Dez Green's a guy that I mentioned earlier. In fact, this is number 2 that we want to play. And Garrett Nussmeier talked about what he could potentially add as a wide receiver and what he saw for him when he played more than half the snaps in Fayetteville.
Obviously, he's a very special player because of, I guess you could say, the amount of different things that he can do very well because of, his size, his physical ability, and also, his athletic ability. And so you can move him around, put him in different spots, put him in different formations that try and isolate different things in a defense that we're trying to attack with a bigger body who's also, dang near just as fast as a receiver. So he's a mismatch no matter where he's at. I think something that's grown so much in his game as well is his ability to get inside the box and block too. And so, adding that to his game has made him so dynamic.
I like Trey'Dez Green in any matchup because even though he may not know every play, even though he may not get every block, when he gets out into the passing routes, there just aren't any players on the defense capable of matching up with him athletically. They don't exist. There's not one in college football that is 6'7", that can run like that can jump like that. There aren't any. And so while he may be compromised from a blocking perspective, he may be compromised that he doesn't quite know every nook and cranny of the playbook, or maybe doesn't know every technical route running thing that he needs to do. He can run and jump. So I like him in just about every matchup that there is out there. The other guy that LSU will have out in the passing game from that position is Mason Taylor, and Nussmeier talked about having that guy in big moments that you can kind of lean on.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player. You know, somebody that, like I've said many times, I always look to when things break down, just because he's always where he's supposed to be. And, you know, I feel like we have good chemistry just working together over the years. And unbelievable football player, and unbelievable talent. His work ethic is unmatched. And, you know, it means everything to him. You know, he never wants to let us down. You know, I can tell just, you know, he never wants to let me down. You know, he's going to try and make any catch he can. And I think that's what's so special about him is, you know, I have a trust in Mason that, you know, he's going to make the play no matter what.
Mason Taylor's been everything you expected him to be this year. I think he's got a case to be the first team all-league tight end, and for good reason. He's really talented, and he's really consistent. You just don't see Mason Taylor dropping balls. You see him making plays, certainly on third down, and none have been bigger thus far than the fourth down catch. 2 catches, honestly, but one of them was tougher than the other against Ole Miss on the last drive. But he's been awesome. They're going to lean on him certainly in the game on Saturday night. So that's enough sound from Garrett Nussmeier and my reaction to other sound from Garrett Nussmeier in the first hour. If you're looking for our LSU football content, wherever you may be or whenever you may be able to listen, Hunt on LSU is where you can find it on YouTube. All LSU football all the time. We'll have previews of the games, reaction to the games, sound. It's all football. There's no fall baseball baked into Hunt on LSU. That is all football all the time. So subscribe up to the channel. You can get it to your homepage on YouTube each and every day. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.